And I'm here today to announce a brand new plan to deliver more opportunity, more security, more fairness, and more prosperity to black communities. We call it the Platinum Plan. Platinum Plan. And that's a contract with black Americans, and it's going to be something that people talk about for a long time to come. If you vote Republican over the next 4 years, we will create 3 million new jobs for the black community. Open 500,000 new black-owned businesses. Increase access to capital in black communities by $500 billion. And this includes investing in community development, financial institutions, and minority depository institutions. Build up peaceful and safer urban neighborhoods with the highest standards of, and you know this, of policing. We want the highest standards we have to have. We have to have highest standards of policing. Bring even greater fairness to the justice system. We did criminal justice reform. We remember that. Even greater, we will create a national clemency project to right wrongful prosecutions and to pardon individuals who have reformed their life.
I know you are one of the, you're part of the group Black Voices for Trump 2020. Apparently his message is about black economic empowerment. What sort of a message does the president have for the black community?
It's going to be more than a message. It's going to be a plan, probably the most comprehensive plan for black Americans, minority Americans in American history. He's going to set forth his plan to close the wealth gap between the black community and the other communities in America. And it's going to be a very, very comprehensive plan. 3 million new jobs, 500,000 new black businesses. You're talking about tax cuts for minority businesses. It's going to include police reform, health care, a pathway to housing, building generational wealth for the black community. It's going to be a very, very comprehensive plan that the black community is going to be pleasantly impressed by. I can't wait. It's going to be great.
Shalom, like give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Like your double honors to our apostles and elders of great millstone, salutations to all you sincere brothers, pushers right out across the four corners of the earth. This is an article from Bloomberg.com, and the title says, "What's in Trump's Platinum Plan for Black America?" This was published on September the 29th, 2020. On the eve of the first presidential debate, the White House unveiled a $500 billion package of promises aimed at African American voters. Details, however, were limited. In its efforts to woo African American voters before the election, on September the 25th, President Donald Trump unveiled a plan to shovel capital, jobs, and opportunities into black communities, a program that his campaign is calling the Platinum Plan for Black America. And these elites of the Edomite nation, which Trump is a part of, they know exactly who our people are. The so-called Negroes, the Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, the biblical Israelites. So they love to seek favor and sell false dreams and hopes to our people. So what they're doing by their diligent search, being cunning, they're aiming for so-called African Americans or so-called Black America, because they know exactly that's the top tribe of the nation of Israel. So once they sell their false narratives to our people and get our people invested into those different ideologies, then they already know that the rest of the tribes are going to follow suit, which are the so-called Hispanics, Native Americans, and Latino tribes. But what majority of our people don't understand, you falling for a false hope here in your captivity, America, known as Babylon the Great, according to the scriptures. So by that word, it says he was trying to woo so-called African Americans, meaning that he's trying to seek favor for you all so you can go ahead and so-called vote for him. Because at the end of the day, your votes do not count, because the elites, these international bankers, they set who they want to go ahead and be president. Presidents are selected, not elected. So they are selected by the higher ups in this society. But majority of our people are just lost sheep. So they're going to go ahead and follow wherever shepherd that's in lead and sell them false dreams and lead them to their slaughterhouse. Because they're going to sell you out at the end of the day. These other nations are not for you, and they will never be. So it's laws, statutes, commandments, and judgments we supposed to keep with our Heavenly Father, Yahweh. And one of those main laws, we do not supposed to be voting for another nation. We do not supposed to set another nation to be king over our nation, which is the nation of Israel. And this is Deuteronomy, the 17th chapter and the 15th verse. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy power shall choose. One from among thy brethren shall thou set king over thee. So anyone that's in the nation of Israel, that's what we supposed to set king over us. Any fellow Israelite, not these heathen nations, which Trump happens to be a part of, which is an Edomite. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. And this is Isaiah, the 33rd chapter and the 22nd verse. For the Lord is our judge, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our king, he will save us. So as the hopeful elect, our hope, our spiritual investment, we're banking on is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Not these elites, not no Donald Trump or Joe Biden or any other heathen nation. Okay, back to the article. For black communities, the Platinum Plan commits to unlocking $500 billion in access to capital, creating 3 million new jobs, and bridging historic disparities in healthcare and education. School choice, criminal justice reform, and favorable trade deals for black farmers and manufacturers round out the list of the president's platinum promises. The campaign pledges that Trump will even make Juneteenth a national holiday if he is reelected, building on the credit that the president has taken for making Juneteenth very famous. And that's nothing but mockery toward our people. But by our people being simple and lost as they are, they're going to follow suit, listen to these false hopes and dreams, bite that bait, and be led to their downfall, which fall into that system, which is this pit. So majority of our people, they love these enticing words about black empowerment, or we're going to build up your black communities. We're going to have you all be successful. So that's majority of our people want to be hand in hand with Esau, their master, here in your captivity. So as you saw from this initial video, when Trump was making his speech, you heard how people were screaming and hollering every time he would say something that's so-called enticing to them. And that leads me to the book of Sirach, the 13th chapter and the 23rd verse. When the rich man speaketh, in this case Esau, every man holdeth his tongue, and look, what he said, they extol it to the clouds. So majority of our people you heard in the background screaming, cheering on, which majority of them were so-called black women, being nothing but cheerleaders. They was extolling everything he was saying to the clouds. They was uplifting every word he was saying. And as it says in the book of Psalm, the 55th chapter, the words of his mouth are smoother than butter. So Esau loves to use those enticing words. He knows what to woo our people with. Esau studies the minds, especially the ones of our people. So they know exactly what to sell you all with their false narratives and dreams. But if the poor man speaking, in this case represents us as the prophets of Yahweh Yahushua, they say, what fellow is this? If he stumbled, they will help to overthrow him. So here we are telling our people that it's going to be the downfall of America, known as Babylon the Great, according to the scriptures, and that we have a way more better kingdom that's going to overshadow this wicked kingdom right here, America. But majority of our people are caught up into the fashion of this world, so they are comfortable here. They don't hear words like that because majority of our people are set in their ways. Well, I have a house here, I have family here, I'm trying to get my college degree, I'm trying to retire here. So majority of our people are set on their leads here. But here we are as the hopeful elect of Yahweh Yahushua. We're telling our people spiritually depart from this place, because this place is going to get physically destroyed very soon. But they don't want to hear that. So majority of our people mindsets, they will overthrow us because of the words that we were saying. It's not enticing to them. Our people love to hear those smooth words. And that's why you read through the scriptures, you see the ancient prophets, when they call hell from majority of our people, because your own people are the worst. And it's no different in this case right here. When we're prophesying the downfall of America, you have majority of our people coming against us. But ultimately, they're coming against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, which your hands are too short to fight with. So with this presidential campaign going on, whether our people so-called vote for Trump or Biden, they're still trusting in oppression, this system. So back in ancient Egypt, you had our people doing the same thing in that time frame, trusting in Pharaoh. They didn't want anything that's better than that by us having freedom. They want to stay there in their captivity. Fast forward to nowadays, those are the same spirits coming back in the process called reincarnation, doing the same deeds, complaining, murmuring. And this is Isaiah 30 verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children. That's talking about to 2/3 of the nation of Israel, because majority of our people are backsliders, which leads me to Hosea, the 11th chapter and the 7th verse. And my people are bent to backsliding from me. In this case, the Most High was talking about the northern kingdom tribes. But in actuality, it's really from the head to the tail, from Judah all the way down to Issachar. And my people are bent to backsliding from me, just being rebellious. Though they called them to the Most High, none at all would exalt him. Those same spirits are back here today fulfilling this prophecy. So back again to Isaiah 30:1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, because you adhere to the ways of Esau. What he says what to do. He's telling you to vote for him. So majority of our people are listening hard, and you believe in these false hopes and dreams. So you want to say, okay, maybe Biden might be better for us. Like, you really have a lot of our people thinking like that. And what gets me, majority of our people should have learned from the elites selecting Obama to be president, which he was another nation, but he looked similar to our people. But as you can see, what did he do for so-called Black America? Nothing. You can't name one good thing that he did for our people. As you can see, years down, our people haven't learned from that situation. So now here they are trusting to another Pharaoh. And that's going to lead you to your downfall. But not of me, and that cover with a covenant, but not with my spirit, because you're not adhering to the ways of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua via the scriptures. You adhering to the ways of Esau. You're putting your trust and your faith into another nation. It told us not to set another nation to be king over us. So our people are putting more of their energy and their spirits and vibration to another heathen nation. You are really trusting to what he's saying. Esau is the God of this world, so the majority of our people worship the God of this world, that they may add sin to sin. That's exactly what majority of our people are doing. So when the Most High bring all that hell and destruction on this place, America, you're going to be caught up into that because you trust into a false God, a false idol, which is Esau. Verse 2, that walk to go down to Egypt and have not answered my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. So as you can see, our people cheering on the Trump every time he make those so-called enticing words, promising these future business ventures for our people, building up your so-called Black communities. So majority of our people are putting strength into Trump and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. And that's talking about America, because America mimics and mirrors ancient Egypt. A lot of these Americans love to have shaven heads. With the so-called Black unconscious group, you still have a lot of them bring up those ancient Egyptian deities that they was once worshiping aforetime. So that's how you know everything is all spiritual. Those are the same spirits coming back nowadays, doing the same thing here in America, putting your strength into Pharaoh. Verse 3, therefore should the strength of Pharaoh be your shame. It's going to be disgrace upon 2/3 of the nation of Israel, because majority of our people are applying for a job in a burning building. It's all throughout the scriptures that this place is going to be destroyed. So that's going to be your shame by trusting into this system. It's going to lead you to your downfall. Because majority of our people are really going to see the horns coming out of these so-called white people, starting with Trump, with the economic collapse, martial law, all chaos and turmoil in the streets of America. So you're really going to see those horns coming out of this devil. So that's going to be your shame. And you're going to think upon, man, I should have listened to those men who was out there on the highways and the byways with those street signs for warning our people the time frames we were in. So that's going to be your shame at the end of the day. And the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. And that leads me to the book of 2nd Esdras, the 1st chapter and the 12th verse. Just more proof to show you that majority of our people are rebellious and just being inconsiderate. In the 2nd Esdras, the 1st chapter and the 12th verse. Speak thou therefore unto them, saying, thus said the Lord, I led you through the sea, and in the beginning gave you a large and safe passage. I gave you Moses for a leader, and Aaron for a priest. I gave you light and a pillar of fire, and great wonders have I done among you. Yet have you forgotten me, said the Lord. Thus said the Almighty Lord, the quails were as a token to you. I gave you tents for your safeguard. Nevertheless, ye murmured there. Meaning you are still complaining out of all these miraculous doings Yahweh was doing for our people back in the wilderness. Verse 16, and triumph not in my name for the destruction of your enemies, but ever to this day do you yet murmur. You still complaining about us when we preach the word of Yahweh Yahushua to you all. Complaining like, why can't all nations be saved and make it into the kingdom of heaven? Why do you only choose one nation? Here we are telling you all, you're the greatest nation upon the earth. and you still want to murmur and complain and just continually to be rebellious. So you can just imagine how furious Yahweh Yahushua are. Verse 17. So this is the Most High questioning our people. Where are the benefits that I have done for you when you were hungry and thirsty in the wilderness? Did you not cry unto me? And here's the response for a majority of our people. And just letting you know, these are the same spirits coming back nowadays, still having that same type of mentality. Saying, why hast thou brought us into this wilderness to kill us? It had been better for us to have served the Egyptians than to die in this wilderness. And there you go right there. A rebellious, inconsiderate nation. But through the grace of Yahweh Yahushua, by awakening the hopeful elect of the nation Israel, we are coming to the spirit of appreciating Yahweh Yahushua of the good deeds he has done for us. But as you can see, for the majority of our people, they are still being in that spirit of being unthankful. So just by being in that spirit of unthankfulness, they're not going to be covering the Most High bringing that judgment upon this earth. And as you can see, it's rightfully so. He's definitely justified by destroying 2/3 of the nation of Israel. And this is Numbers 11 chapter and the 4th verse. In the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting. And this was the Egyptians that was caught into the midst of our people. That was in the ears of the majority of our people in the wilderness, selling our people those false hopes, putting them in that spirit to go back to ancient Egypt. And that mixed multitude had a very high influence on the majority of our people in the wilderness. They was pushing that vibration of spiritual fortification, having our people to commit idolatry. But at the end of the day, they was overthrown, the ones of our people that were caught up into that mentality, and also that mixed multitude. And just fast forward nowadays, as you can see, our people are still following suit of these other nations, taking heed especially to Esau, or what he's saying, selling those false dreams to you all. And the children of Israel also wept again and said, who should give us flesh to eat? Verse 15, we remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely. So here they are complaining to Moses about how we was living lovely in ancient Egypt. The cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. So again, fast forward to nowadays, you have those same particular spirits. When this economy crashes here in America, they're going to be saying, we remember 401k. We remember food stamps. We remember Section 8. We remember the NFL, NBA games. We remember happy hour. We remember our Social Security and disability chips. The majority of our people going to have those same type of flashbacks when this system collapses as they did back in ancient Egypt. So that concludes this lesson. And you just have to trace back and think about in history, when has ever Esau did a so-called good deed for our people without it being some type of restriction or consequence to it. That's why it says in the book of Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter, remember the days are old. Because if he did ever present a so-called good deed to us, it led to a negative effect on our people. So that's why the scriptures tell us never trust thy enemy. But for the ones of our people caught up into that coon mentality, you ingest everything that Esau tells you on national TV, you believe everything you hear and see, you're going to really see the true horns of Esau in these very near times, which is called Jacob's trouble. It's called that for a very particular reason. So with that, I hope y'all was edified. Y'all stay strong. Shalom.
He is totally right, and I've said it many times. Whoever came up with defunding the police came up with a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. Today, the president unveiled what he called a platinum plan, which they don't even know what this is. They talk about social justice. They talk about justice. Well, this is a plan that the president has unveiled that is going to increase capital in the black communities, meaning $500 billion over 4 years. Well, you know, if everyone pays attention to that, this president is a get-done president. No one came to Washington and asked him to do this. He did it because he wanted to try to get things to change. He wants people to understand that.